I made more functional yet less menacing spiders with an erector set. I'm Sam.
A fear of heights leads to an elevator climax for the ages. I'm Tucker, and this is Runaway on Stinker Madness.
What's that smell?
I don't know about you, but I'm thirsty as fuck. Thirsty as fuck.
Hey, look at these!
Thrill me.
If you come back in here, I'm gonna hit you with so many rights, you're gonna beg for a left.
Thrill me.
Beg for a left.
Thrill me.
Hey, look at these!
No one! Hang on!
It stinks.
Hang on!
Get to the chopper! Stinker Madness.
Hello and welcome to Stinker Madness, the bad movie podcast for bad movie lovers. I am your host, Sam, and with me this week and next week is Tucker. How are you, Tucker?
Doing good, Sam. Thanks for having me back.
Yes, there's talk, there's wind of, three ways coming with Justin's getting ready to be on the podcast more regularly, but I told him that we're going to give it a couple weeks because I don't want to have to do any work because I work a regular job. This
Excellent.
week we have 1984's Runaway, directed by one Michael Crichton. Give me your thoughts on one Michael Crichton, Tucker.
Most of my Michael Crichton experience is cinematic. I have only read Jurassic Park. But I've seen a lot of the movies and they're fun. And my wife read a lot of Michael Crichton. She's a big fan.
What'd you think of Jurassic Park?
I love Jurassic Park. I think it's a great time.
The book versus the movie, because there's a lot of differences.
I don't even know if I could tell you the differences anymore. I read it around the same time, and I was, 14, 15.
Yeah. It's a real page-turner, though, right?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I remember flying through it.
That's the thing, is that I will now admit that I guess I would call myself a giant fan of Michael Crichton because I own most of his movies and I have all of his books within about 4 feet of me. I haven't read the pirate one yet. Kind of worried because it was published posthumously and that State of Fear wasn't so much a novel as it was a man pissed off about the science involved with climate change. And it was supposed to have been a novel in there. And it was was a page turner.
Was that unfinished?
No.
That one was done before he died.
That one was done before he died of lung cancer because he smoked like a chimney. Even though he was a medical doctor.
Well, more power to him. He was frustrated with science too.
He was. I don't know that he was really, against that science. He's just, those Marlboro Reds. Come to daddy.
I understand. I still have the feelings. It's been 3 years, but I still have the feelings.
Yeah. It's been almost 9 for me.
Nice.
But, yeah.
I'm man, that'd be great if I could just go back to doing that right now. I always think that. It's not even that I have a physical pull to it or anything anymore. It's just that I'm still yeah, it's totally awesome. I love doing it. It was my favorite thing. Yeah. I would go back in a second if I didn't have blood pressure problems and whatnot.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
My girlfriend still smokes. And so every once in a while, I'll be like, you should let me have a puff of that. And she's like, no, you'll start smoking again. I'm like, trust me. And I'll do it. And the thing is, one puff after you've quit long enough, you're like, this
sucks.
Is fucking disgusting.
Nice.
How did I do this?
Well, if the cravings get real bad, I'll get a puff from someone. Cure me.
Well, I also have the tobacco pouches. So I didn't quit, or not tobacco, but nicotine pouches and then the gun and the lozenges. So I've never really been able to kick nicotine, but I did quit smoking. And by all accounts, the methods I use now for absorption are 1,000 times more healthy than cigarettes, even though they might still be somewhat dangerous.
Good enough.
Back to Michael Crichton.
Yes.
Director.
Chain
author,
smoker.
chain smoker, medical doctor, skeptic,
Director of
I just think I mentioned
Westworld.
that. And producer, because he produced ER was his gig.
Oh, yeah. That's right.
Yep.
Forgot about that.
He does a lot of accurate predictions, and really, it's fun. And like, people are always talking about it, like, oh yeah, like this guy's so smart, and these books are so amazing. And I'm like, I don't really read these because I think the guy's a super genius. They're just page turners. They're real fun reads.
Yeah.
And a lot of the stuff that he is accurately predicting is just because he had a research team, and you can get when he's seeing this stuff.
Mm-hmm.
The prototypes and the designs are out there, and it's like he's just kind of grabbing onto stuff that's going to be like, this is going to work. The one thing, however, that he consistently latches onto that has never materialized yet is lasers. He has a hard-on for lasers.
Who doesn't? It was just the
Okay.
era, man. Lasers everywhere. Lasers were the shit.
They are awesome, I guess. They just
You
don't.
seen Real Genius?
Yeah.
The whole movie's about lasers.
I mean, they do stuff that's cool, like robots. I'll save robots for a minute, but like robots use them to see, and lasers are functional and they're used every day.
Yeah. You mean
They
like
just
laser
aren't
guns? Laser guns.
Yeah, laser guns.
Yeah, everyone wanted those though. Everyone assumed that's where we were going.
And at the same time, they are dangerous. So it's like, no, it's not a gun, but if you use a laser pointer in someone's eye, you might blind them.
It's the closest
So-
we've come to the dream being realized.
And
Because we've all just dreamed of being able to like hurt or kill someone with a laser. That's been the dream for 50 years now.
I'll put your eye out with this thing, and later I will cause my cat PTSD, because apparently that's a thing that you can do with a laser pointer too, is give, there's feline psychology is a thing, and they have determined without
Learning
a
a lot.
shadow of a doubt that making your cat chase the laser pointer will give it post-traumatic stress disorder, because they can't catch the red dot, and it's not good for feline psychology.
All right.
Didn't know about that one?
Didn't know about that one. I thought
Yeah.
feline psychology consisted of like pretty much just a scoff and a shrug.
Yeah.
Like, they don't give a shit. If you give them something to
don't.
jump around about, they will, and then they'll not care about you again.
Yeah, they don't care about anything, apparently. They realize how awesome lasers are. And then they are completely psychologically deconstructed by the fact that they can't get that laser in their paws.
Yeah, they just come undone completely.
Yeah,
They can't handle it.
absolutely.
You want to break your cat's brain? Just bust out a laser pointer. Michael Crichton never cover that?
No, I don't think so. I don't know if you like kitty cats or not. I don't know that about him. This movie accurately predicts
A lot of things.
robots. The robots themselves, and I'll get to this in a second. Social media, voice input, drones, tablets, hands-free headsets, and an odd one, because in 1984, standard issue police weapons were still revolvers. This movie accurately predicts that the police force will adopt semi-automatic weapons.
Huh. I mean, it was pretty shortly after that at least other movies had cops carrying like 45s or whatever. Those are semi-automatic, right? Like,
Yes.
like Lethal Weapon, Riggs carries a 45, right?
1911, yeah.
And then,
1911, 45.
You know, John McClane. So it was just a few years later that they were at least portraying it in movies that was somewhat standard issue. But it was also portrayed as the new guy, because Murtaugh had the revolver, and lots of old timers carry those. Riggs says. So
Yep.
yeah, they were probably saw Runaway and they were like, "Oh, it was fucking cool."
Nobody else did, though, because this movie returned $6.7 million against $8.
Yeah, but it was on HBO, so like people saw it because I saw it. You know?
Oh,
So lots of people
I
saw it
didn't-
that way.
I didn't see it until I was like 27.
Oh, really? Oh.
Yeah, I didn't know it
Yeah.
existed.
It was in that sweet spot where my stepdad got HBO. So I got to just watch whatever came out. That was one of them.
I feel like one of the reasons why he gets out of directing movies is because of there's so many compromises that have to be made when making a film, especially with someone else's money.
Mm-hmm.
And I feel like the look of these robots is more of a compromise than he was willing to make because the writing was on the wall that things were going to get smaller, not bigger by this point.
Right.
But the movie people are like, oh, the idiots at the box office don't get that, so you got to make these boxy robots on wheels. And it's like,
Plus-
no, that's never going to happen.
We have all these leftover models from Chopping Mall. We got them for a bargain basement price.
I don't think Wynorski gives up his models. Guy keeps everything. He's a hoarder.
Ah.
He hoards other people's shit.
Yeah, yeah.
That and then, this and the Burt Reynolds movie after that,
Which one
they
is
didn't
that
return very
called?
well. Looker didn't return very well.
What's the Burt Reynolds one? I forget the name. I just looked up his filmography. I've already forgot what that movie was called. I don't think I've seen it.
Physical Evidence with Burt
yeah.
Reynolds and
Teresa Russell and Ned Beatty.
yeah.
All right. Huh. Have you seen that?
No, I haven't. That's one of the only ones I haven't seen because I just don't really, for whatever reason, the lawyer movies don't do it for me.
All right. That's fair. I mean, it's not exactly what you'd expect from Crichton anyway. I don't
No.
That's what you go to John Grisham for.
Sure.
For grabbing pot novelists here.
And there, speaking of Grisham, maybe it's Tom Cruise's that does it to me. We've discussed my distaste of the Tom Cruises.
Oh, that's right.
I feel like the last time that I really was at a theater, I think I saw both Officer and a Gentleman and The Pelican Brief at the theater, and I'm like, lawyer action blows.
Yeah, I don't think those are real standout examples either.
Isn't The Pelican Brief like the Officer, or not Officer and Gentleman, the one with You Can't Handle the Truth? What the fuck is that called?
Men.
That's like the gold standard for lawyer movies, right?
Yeah, that's probably one that people like a lot, I suppose. Yeah. But yeah, you got a Tom Cruise thing, so you can't accurately judge that one. And The Pelican Brief, it's not that good.
Yeah, it's not.
But you're
Back
right.
to the sort of...
It's few and far between that are really good.
beyond the financials of this movie causing him to exit and the compromises where, when he writes his novels, he just gets to do whatever the hell he wants. So he's like, I'm just going to do that. I'll make a bunch of cash on ER and also all of my books that sold bazillions. The cast all loved him, I guess. Tom Selleck worked with him twice. He worked with him on the movie Coma earlier in 1978.
Oh, yeah. I've seen that one.
Kirstie Alley claimed that he's the director's director. If you're an actor and you're not giving it, he's going to get it out of you, which I found surprising because I always thought that he was a little bit more concerned with the look of things. How did you like the way this was shot?
I didn't find it too. I liked it. I like the widescreen kind of aspect ratio that he used. I always liked that frame, but I didn't feel like it did anything really innovative with it or anything. It was just kind of there.
Mm-hmm.
Jinx had a good point. She said she felt like this was a futuristic, slightly futuristic yet early episode of Blue Bloods.
Yeah,
I thought that was pretty accurate.
Speaking of Tom Selleck, I think the failure of this film and the disaster financially, even though it's another movie that I really like a lot, Quigley Down Under, is just forces him back into TV. He's just in TV because of those movies.
Yeah.
And
a lot of TV movies, right? He has that whole series of Stone Cold.
Jesse Stone.
Yeah.
But those are fun.
Those TV
even though
movies,
they're just
is that right?
Yeah, they're old man justice. And they might not be good and they might not be fun at all, but what's the youngest Baldwin? Stephen Baldwin?
Yeah.
The one that's a real maniac?
Uh-huh.
The first Jesse Stone movie is just like Tom Selleck in a pair of jeans, and he goes up to Stephen Baldwin in like the first 10 minutes and just kicks him right in the nuts.
Oh, this sounds like a good movie.
I know. And I'm like, I don't really care what happens with this Jesse Stone bullshit after this point. I'm in.
All 20 of them. I'm watching them all.
I think I'm on 5. I don't know. They all blend together. It's an old man running around kicking people in the nuts.
My bucket list just got a little longer.
I'll mention the other actors as we get into it. We should just get into it.
Yeah. So this is Jerry Goldsmith's first all-synth score.
I think he's only.
Might be, yeah.
Yeah, and I was going to mention that. Good job. Did
Yeah.
you know what it was on?
No.
Yamahas,
Ah.
which are kind of renowned at being the weakest voicings of all synthesizers. So they probably put some cash into the budget of this movie.
Yeah.
They have a really my dad has a Yamaha, and a couple of them. So that were the higher end ones that were out with the Rolands and all the Prophets and all of those. And they just didn't have the bass. The bass was not there on those Yamahas.
Did you like the score?
I was okay with it until the end of the credits when it said that the sound was done by Yamahas. And I was like, I didn't know it was Goldsmith. So I'm like, who the fuck can get that out of a Yamaha? And I'm like, oh, fucking Jerry Goldsmith. That's fucking who.
Yeah. Yeah, I didn't find any like memorable themes to emerge out of it, but I like the feel of it. But anything made in 1984 with a synth score is gonna hit my sweet spot on some level. So
yeah, there you go.
Yeah.
Or any other year, like
in that
I
era,
sometimes
yeah.
will. I have a little MIDI, and I've got a bunch of soft synths from the old 70s synths, the Prophets and the Ampegs and all that.
Yeah.
And every once in a while I'll have a little too much to drink, and I just like mash it and make sounds and go into space.
Wow.
It's pretty rad.
Nice.
Yeah. $100.
Well
That's all it
spent.
cost. Yeah. Speaking of, this movie starts out, computers! The future.
That's my computer sounds.
And then you're like, robots!
Yeah. You're like,
This movie skirts the pleasure model completely. Did you notice that?
the pleasure model. Refresh me.
The sex bot.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. Well, these robots are not sexy.
They are not.
No, they're little appliances. They're boxes. They're Wall-E's at best, and not even like they're not that much personality. Just boxes.
They're.
I mean, do any
They're
of them
just-
have faces or anything like that? Do they try to? They give them like human voices, but that's about it.
Yeah.
Right?
That's about it. They're basically Alexa's voice on a rolling refrigerator
Yeah.
that has like a pincher arm.
Yeah. It's human in that it can speak to you and shoot you with a gun, which seems to be pretty ubiquitous quality.
Like
that's
the
how
fail-safe
I
on that.
see us in them.
You go, so you built it so that it could hold a gun, shoot at you, huh?
Genius.
You know, the guys over there making those sex robots, they haven't designed it with the ability to yank penises off.
Smart.
Fail-safe.
Let's let the sex robot people take over.
Yeah. I actually had to do a little bit of a dive on this when I was doing my research because I was figuring, I thought it was really odd that they did most movies when you get into the super high-tech stuff, the pleasure model just shows up, Blade Runner, all of it, right?
Right. Yeah.
And
it's always there.
because it's so absent, I was like, where's robotics at on this? And it's about where it would be. It, like, every time there's an advancement in robotics, there's an advancement in sex robots.
Yeah. Terminator missed this too. What if those had been the machines?
Terminator
It tried.
doesn't... there's... And it's, you have to, like, look at all the Terminator stuff, right? That there's illusions made to sex being an angle to get what the robot wants.
Yeah, in 3 especially. I just mean, what if those had been the machines that rose up, the sex dolls?
Blade Runner, again, great science fiction, my favorite movie.
Yeah.
Pris is a pleasure model, and
That's
she's
right.
pissed off about it.
Man, I don't know. I think at some point you start missing the point, right? Anyway.
Yeah.
Ugh.
Well, those pleasure models aren't missing the point if you get my drift, because the wiener points
It's
in
the
them.
point.
Yeah. Hit it with the pointy end.
Yeah, it has a sharp point on the end. I don't know what you know about biology.
Not much. So there's a robot division at the police force.
Yeah.
And we're sort of whisked through a lot of backstory on Tom Selleck's character. And Tom Selleck is just on screen dripping sex.
Yep, with those glasses.
Burning a question right now. Is there anybody, male or female, other than Tom Selleck, that people have just been like, if I could be anybody, I'd be that person? Can you name somebody more Tom Selleck than Tom Selleck?
Oh, God, no. Tom Selleck is the, he's next to the dictionary definition of hunk.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, he's the bar.
Yeah, he is at the bar. He played basketball at USC even. I mean, like, a man's man, I
and
suppose.
even as an old man.
Yeah.
He's still
Maybe
pulling it off.
And then you got, like, for women, there's the divide. Like, half of them, like, and I don't know where it is now, but, growing up, it was, like, either Hepburn or Monroe, one or the other, right? They didn't have, like, nope, hands down Tom Selleck, I want to be that guy. Have you seen his mustache?
Right. Yeah. It's the dominant mustache in the culture.
And that he's 6'6", and just, like, he's got it all, that guy.
Yep.
Son of a bitch.
Yeah, he really is a prick.
And seems nice. He's not a prick.
Yeah,
he's like, and you're a nice guy? Fuck off, Tom
seems
Selleck.
Nice.
And the other Tom Cruise is like,
Ugh.
no, I'm the guy. And Tom Selleck's like, sure you are, little buddy.
Yeah.
Go get him.
Everybody wants to be
keep
me.
running.
Pew! That's him running away.
Did you see me running in my movies, Tom Selleck?
Watch this, Tom. Pew!
Yep. He's like, yeah, I did. I actually played university level sports. Yeah.
And he comes flying
How about
back
that?
by. Meep, meep. Pew! That's Tom Cruise. I wonder
Does
if
he run because his name is Cruise?
they should. Oh, we got a pitch of fucking Roadrunner movie starring Tom Cruise.
As long as it can compete with the Marvel and DC universe, he'll be in.
Oh, totally will. We'll be like, the Mummy didn't work out, but we got a new thing here.
So Cynthia Rhodes is back from previous episode of Dirty Dancing.
Ah, yeah.
She's really, yeah. And I mentioned in that one that she was so good looking they couldn't make her look bad when she was medically challenged or whatever.
Right.
Still looking good in this one.
Yeah.
She's now Tom Selleck's new partner, and they're already going to go on assignment. I'm kind of skipping ahead of some of the backstory.
Yeah.
Wally, as you were saying, it is straight up Wally, is a farm bot, and it's gone out of control. And they have to go to that in a helicopter.
Yeah. They gotta, because we want to get a bird's eye view of the path through the crops that the crazed robot is cutting. It's just a pest control. It's supposed to be picking little grubs, worms off of the crops and throwing them in its little grinder. This thing's just running down the crops. Can you believe this?
Yeah.
And apparently, due to insurance, no one can fucking turn off their own robot if it goes crazy. They got to call the taxpayer-funded cops with the helicopter.
We're there. I was going to save this for the end, but this is like the dystopia that we're headed for. It's like, we going to need to pay any goddamn taxes. Now send out the cops to fix my robot.
Uh-huh. Exactly.
That's what happens right here.
Yep.
And with the construction site and everywhere else, it's like, oh, we're saving money. We don't have to pay workers. Unions are done. Fuck those guys. We don't want to pay any taxes either. Also, fix our robots for us. The insurance people won't let us do it ourselves.
Yeah, he nailed this.
They're not paying any taxes either.
Right. Ah, damn it. This movie apparently, by the way, takes place in, someone figured out, I saw someone in the trivia somewhere, IMDb or something, said that they can glimpse Ramsey, that's Selleck's name, Jack Ramsey. They can glimpse his ID on a screen at some point that says his year of birth. And then we hear that he's 36, I think, in the movie. So they did the math and said that this takes place in 1991.
Wow, he was a little ahead of things on the headsets.
Yeah, he's a little ahead of a lot of stuff, but the drone cameras and the tablets and whatnot.
The drone one, I couldn't tell if they had to be suspended from wires because it's only one. There's only one blade spinning, and there's no way to keep that stable.
Right,
unless it's got a double blade. It looked good. They could have been real if it had two blades spinning in opposite directions. I don't know.
Yeah.
But he was on that one, and I don't think that was a ways out. Because I was really surprised. I wrote that one down like drones. Holy shit. But anyway, they go to the field.
The field, yes. And the pest control robots run amok, and she runs straight off into he goes to chit chat with the farmers.
Yeah.
And she runs straight out after it and grabs it, picks it up over her head, and then it like kind of explodes a little bit. She drops it and it takes off again. And then they both have to like cartoon jump at the same time into the crops on top of it. Do you remember that?
If there is an essential failure repeatedly with the Michael Crichton, it is the comedy. He does not understand how it works.
I think that's a fair criticism.
Crichtoncism. The comedy is not there.
And then they come out all with explosion all over their face, also like a cartoon.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. It's a little more cartoony than the tone of the movie, really.
It's a very strange film. Well, I'm going to save that one for the end. So they give the farmers back their robots who don't do anything. These are guys that are just leaning on pickups all day, bitching about taxes.
Yeah. So what else is there for them to do?
They're nothing because the robots are doing all of the work, and sometimes they fuck up. They're like, oh, call the police. That robot's fucking up. The police?
The police.
Do you have a remote that you can just turn it off? Like, there's so many times in this movie that it's like, did you turn it off and turn it back on again? Where are the geniuses on this one?
It's like they're like, no, you can't even touch it. Because if we touch it, the insurance company will fuck us over. You got to have an official report, so just call the cops instead. Like, don't even try to just turn it off. Because that's how, like, half of them are dealt with.
Yeah. The insurance companies that don't want to pay taxes or have any red tape create red tape specifically for government infrastructure.
Yeah.
In order to erase their own liability.
This whole robot cop thing's a racket, man.
It is a racket.
Mm-hmm.
Meanwhile, they've got a super cop on these robots. It's like, this guy's, I guess he's scared of heights, but he's obviously super cop. He's out there fixing robots.
Yeah. He's the best. Oh, and the captain or whoever it is G.W. Bailey from Police Academy. Did you just keep expecting him to be like, Proctor?
Yeah.
He never did.
And
though.
he's pulling the same routine though. It's great.
Yeah. They just need to set the score a little differently when he's on screen. It would just be, oh, here he comes. That would be awesome if he starts waltzing into the room and it's like.
They go back to the office. Stan Shaw, who's in like half the movies that we do, he's there. He's like, oh, we got another call. It's a 7 something or other. It means somebody's dead. And they're like, oh, shit. Is that what it is?
Mm-hmm. 709. People have died. I wrote it down.
So they go out to the house, the neighborhood, cul-de-sac, middle America, even though this is shot in Vancouver, Canada. And there is a crime scene. It's like they show them the bodies. They don't show us the bodies because they're so mangled by what allegedly is a kitchen knife.
Yeah, they said this robot sliced them up and they made it outside before they succumbed to their wounds. And they left a 10-month-old baby inside. But I'm like, they've got like they got like cars everywhere. There's cops everywhere. The place has been taped off. It's an active scene. And I'm like, they have to wait for these special cops to go in and get this baby out of there?
Yeah, it's a lot of red tape.
It's ridiculous. I am outraged.
Also, it seems outraged. It seems as if the world of robots doing all the work has led to humans becoming less disgruntled. And the police are very much like the police in Demolition Man, where Rob Schneider's like, we're police, we're not meant to handle this level of violence. The regular cops seem to be afraid of that robot.
Yeah. And it's insane. Which is why the super cops on Robot Division. Yeah. It's like, it has a gun, sure. It can't maneuver that well. You can get around it. You can stay out of the way of the gun. It's ridiculous.
By virtue of its design, it's already got itself stuck in a corner by the fridge.
Yeah.
And they're like, they didn't even know it has a gun yet. They're like, there's a box on wheels in there and we think it's got a knife. Call the robot guy.
Yeah. Should we save the baby? Sorry, little feller. You know, I will say this about some particular shot in the movie that I really liked is when the robot shoots the gun. When we find out that the robot does have a gun, and it shoots the window out, and there's just a quick insert of the window from outside, and you see the glass break and the curtains shake and all that. But the camera has been, the camera's real solid all the time. It's not like this is a handheld movie or anything. But when that gunshot goes off and it breaks the window, there's a jerk in that camera movement. And the shot itself is like half a second long. It's really quick, but I really liked it. Like I was like, oh, cool.
Yeah, there's a lot of good cuts there, and then he chases it with some nice lighting. So you get Selleck duck, you get the camera jerk like as a reaction to his duck, and then it goes back to the view from the house, and there's a lot of lens flare and some nice things happening there.
Yeah. This is a cool sequence because this is the part, kind of this and the very end with Gene Simmons, all that, are the two parts that stuck out in my memory from watching it when I was a kid. Mm-hmm. Like, I thought this was the actual opening of the movie before I watched it last night.
This is sort of where, like, the plot takes off, because we see Gene Simmons in this scene, and then there's also this, like, commentary on the news being invasive here. And
and throughout.
Yeah, he's very news is invasive at this point, or press is invasive is a theme throughout the whole movie. So Tom Selleck puts on some chainmail.
Mm-hmm. As you do.
Yeah. And a like bulletproof vest thing and some gloves. There's like anti-robot armor that's also like anti-shark
A
armor.
huge cod piece on it, by the way.
Yeah.
Huge.
I'm just going to skip ahead to that. The robot has a gun. He puts a huge cod piece on. You're like, what's this fucking cod piece all about? Well, his strategy is to straddle the robot that has a gun and can clearly just shoot him right in the dick. So he needs that.
Yeah. It's necessary.
Like that's how he shoots it with his laser gun, because he has a laser gun and laser guns are awesome. Right. This one isn't very awesome. It kills the robot, I guess. And then he stands above it, like, if you're going to pull the trigger again, you're going to nail this cock piece. Everyone's safe, and this thing is keeping my boys safe.
That's right.
He trusts that thing with his man bits.
Yeah. It must be, God, like 2 inches of steel.
Yeah. I would never trust any cup that much.
No. I'll let a robot shoot me in the dick. As long as I'm wearing 2-inch steel codpiece.
This happens again in the movie Super Troopers. Yeah.
Yes. Oh, and the press being invasive part right here too. Like there's a whole thing outside with him arguing with the reporter about like, hey, this thing in there is tuned into your frequency, so I'm not going to tell you what I'm doing. Right? And then he goes in and the cameraman just follows him in with no armor, nothing, and he gets killed.
He gets killed. And there's a part where Tom Selleck's like, no, stupid, stay out there.
Yeah.
He's like, I got this. I'm like, all right.
It's crazy. But, you know, that's that crazy freedom of the press.
Yeah, and the lady reporter is not busted up about it one bit. Like, burned another cameraman today.
Yeah, just that part rang true to me.
In the, pre-prod meetings in the morning, she's probably like, where are we at on getting cameramans that get shot less? We at anywhere on that?
Yeah. She's like, can we just get like a cameraman dispenser in here? So you just grab a new one, like a Dixie cup off the bottom.
Also, well, how come there's not robot cameraman if there's robot everything else?
Right.
Well, with robot cameraman, we wouldn't miss the shot, Lacey. Just shut your mouth.
Yeah.
Get some more cameramen shot. I think they go home and she meets the kid from Flight of the Navigator.
Right. And Selleck's house robot Lois.
And she's like, oh, you're not married. And he's like, yeah, my wife died in a car crash 2 years ago. And look how busted up about it I am. You want some spaghetti?
Yeah. That's accurate.
He doesn't care. Like, the whole backstory of him is that, like, a guy got away from him, killed some people, and he's wearing it like a lead weight, but his wife died in a car crash, and he doesn't seem to fucking care at all.
He just replaced her with a boxy robot named Lois. And he seems totally fine with it, even though his job is day after day dealing with crazy robots. He leaves his only family that we know of in the care of this potentially murderous machine.
Well, she's a Model 12 and he's a robot expert, so I think things are fine.
It's true. He thinks they're solid. And it hasn't been modified. That's a sticking point there. Is it seems that this happens when people modify them.
Yeah. Keep jamming those 8088s. I think it was a 6088 was the motor. There's Motorola processors all over this goddamn thing. Intel really fucked that up for everybody when they made a better chip. Actually, they had made the better chip the whole time. But I digress. We go back to the station. The murder bot has been rigged to explode.
They're doing like a robot autopsy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Robotopsy.
Robotopsy, exactly.
Yeah.
And they find a non-manufacturer chip inside. Something's been altered.
it has been modified, but then it blows itself up so that they can't reverse engineer or find out what the hell's going on. So now they got to go back to some good old fashioned gumshoeing.
When they blow it up, G.W. Bailey's outside and he goes, assholes. It's right out of Police
Yet
Academy.
his people seem to do no work.
Yeah. Well, yeah. It's like the police in Batman, the series, you know, the 66 series, where the police are absolutely worthless. And they're always just like, well, what are we going to do? Well, we could just call Batman now. Because they don't do anything.
Do you see how fast Batman deals with this? Like, I could do it, but, you know, me and Glenn get in there, we're going to look like two monkeys fucking a football. Just call Batman.
Yeah. This is my favorite line from a cop in the Batman series. He says, because they're trying to find Bruce Wayne, because they need him for something, and they can't figure out where he is. And he goes, well, we can't... He goes, who knows what these millionaires are doing? He goes, Bruce Wayne's probably on a yacht somewhere, eating sherbet and changing his clothes.
That's what luxury is.
That's what the rich do. According to...
Maybe in the 60s,
Chief,
people just wore the
whatever his
same
name
pants
is.
for a week.
This luxurious bastard changing his clothes on a boat. Who can afford something like that?
Yeah, eating everybody's least favorite ice cream.
Yeah. The rich.
So did they get like a hint on the robotics company here? Is that what happens? And they go over there.
Is that where they go to it's like under that's the building? The next thing I got is the construction site.
Oh, they go to the construction site and more robot shenanigans.
Yeah, there's one dropping bags of cement off of the high floor, and so she goes up instead of him.
Mm-hmm.
And she turns it off. I turned it off!
We're the most special division of the police.
We're the
They
most
used to work-
useful cops.
They got us from the Apple store in the mall.
We used to be on the Geek Squad. We turned it off.
Yeah.
Oh, boy.
I'm going to skip ahead to where they go to... They're finally on the trail, and they go to the corporation that has the robotics that employs Gene Simmons and the owner of the house whose family was killed, and another gentleman. We find out that they're manufacturing modified chips.
Yeah.
The chips can't be modified to be evil. They're just chips. We'll just never mind that, I guess. We made a faster chip. Cool, we'll make more money on it selling it to everyone, not just terrorists, you stupid asshole. Yeah.
Right.
How about
right.
that?
Yeah.
But Gene Simmons is dumb in this movie, so...
oh, yeah. He's big dope.
So he's like, no, the terrorists, I'm going to kill you guys. And they're like...
He's kind of just playing himself where he's like, kind of a genius in some weird ways, but mostly a fucking idiot. That seems accurate. They were like, I know who we should cast. Gene Simmons.
Apparently he was doing auditions, and Crichton said, don't do anything for 1 minute. And so he sat expressionless and stared without moving for 1 minute.
Just looking like
And
a
that was
fucking
like-
creep.
Yeah, that's what he was like.
Yeah.
Yep. You're the most menacing person I've ever seen. You're hired.
Yeah, I'm afraid you're going to touch my naughty bits without my permission right now, and you're in.
Everybody was afraid of him. Apparently one of the Vancouver cops said that if he shook hands with him, he'd check his fingers afterwards or something like that.
Wow.
And Kirstie was afraid of him. Tom Selleck was not afraid of him because I don't think he's fucking afraid of anybody.
Well, yeah, why would he be?
And Gene Simmons, because he was like trying to do, method acting, was just being a dick to everybody to stay in character. And he would sometimes apologize to Tom Selleck. He's like, "No, you're fine, whatever. You keep it up, keep on keeping on, man. I'm not worried about you.
Whatever you gotta do."
Yeah,
Whatever you
if it comes
gotta
to
do to
blows, you're gonna
pretend
end up
like
on the
an
wrong
actor.
side of this one.
Gene Simmons.
So the movie tells us that Kirstie Alley is all of the hotness.
Oh yeah.
Is she all of?
Where's my button? Shit. I don't have my boing button with me right now. But Tom Selleck he's got it in the pants for her immediately.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's like seeing her on security camera footage because she's trapped in there by a will shock you lightly robot. Like that's the only thing it's going to do to you is shock you. It's not going to really hurt you. It won't give you a heart attack. It's just going to be a little shock. That's the worst it can do to her. And she is trapped. She can't go anywhere. And so Selleck sees her and he's like, well, she's very attractive.
Mm-hmm.
And immediately he's like, I'll go in. I don't need my chainmail. Forget my codpiece.
Mm-hmm.
This boner
And
is
Cynthia Rhodes
steel
is like,
enough to protect me.
What am I, warm milk? And he's like, I can't talk right now, boner.
I can't.
And he goes full
All my
caveman,
blood's
gets
gone
a hard
to my
on,
crotch.
takes
Think.
like 4 shots, hard shots, because apparently the robot has again been modified.
Mm.
The robot's been modified. It's now set to stun, not shock. And it's zapping him pretty nice. Mm-hmm. So he smashes the shit out of it with a chair.
Yeah, he throws his jacket over it to blind it. I love it.
Yeah.
It's like throwing
And
his trash like over a trash can is what it looks like. And then he smashes the shit out of it with a chair.
After he distracts it by breaking 2 monitors.
And then the fucking guys that work there have the nerve to come in after, oh, can you help us? And they come in, they're like, great, I'm going to have to write this up. It's all pissed off.
Insurance isn't going to pay for it. And he's like, I can fill out he red tapes that guy right out the door. Like, oh, you want me to investigate you for 60 days? You want to talk about red tape? I'm going to put so much red tape up your ass. You'll be sitting on a pyramid of total bowls. Or colon blow, or whatever the joke was.
Oh, man. Let's see. Oh, and I think it was before this, but we'll get back to it. Anyway, he immediately finds, like, Kirstie Alley is, like, trying to get out of there immediately, and he's like, wait a minute, I'm in love with you. And they somehow, like, spill a box of these chips or whatever. And so we find out that she knows a lot about what's going on here.
Yeah, this is a weird scene for me with his character because it, like, tells us that he's got a boner for this lady, but his character has no... His suspicion never ceases. So even though he's like, maybe it's an act, I don't know, but he's like, haha, what's this all about? And it's, the chips that are evil, I guess.
Yeah, and the boner's pretty much put away at that point.
Yeah.
Because I knew that, I was like, you just know that it's who he really had the boner for was in front of him the whole time. Yeah.
It was always you.
It was always her. New partner. Spoiler.
Uh-huh. There's a bunch of Kirstie Alley trying to be coy about like how evil she actually is and pretending that it's all Luther or whatever, but eventually she spills the beans and tells him that Luther is putting on the Ritz.
Putting on the Ritz.
He's at the Ritz Hotel, so
that's right.
And
we've found out that Gene Simmons Luther has that he's the one doing this, right? Because they get like some security camera footage of him coming in to install to fix the model that went crazy at the house and cut up the people. And there's that, and then there's he chases down and kills the father of that baby because and he unveils this gun, which is the gun that Tom Selleck holds in the poster but never actually holds in the movie.
No.
And it's got these heat-seeking bullets but they seek a specific heat signature, so you can like program them to murder a specific person.
Unless that specific person used to be a USC athlete, then that person can dodge these at will.
Right. They're not hard to dodge.
Dodges with the first one.
You just got to keep your eye, you got to make sure you keep an eye back there every now and then to see where it is. Otherwise, it hits you right in the back going up a fire escape or something. So be careful.
Well, the father of the family that doesn't care about his family at all and only his own ass, he's so panicky that I'm surprised he's still alive by the time he gets shot by this missile. But yeah, we do have the missile gun reveal.
Yeah.
And then after that, she spills the beans that he's at the Ritz.
Right.
I think that's all how it goes down. We skipped the missile gun thing. The missile gun leads to Kirstie Alley, caveman robot smash, Ritz Hotel with hookers, and the mafia, and the terrorists, because you'll make more money selling those chips to a couple of people rather than everybody. Including those two people. Notable actress Anne-Marie Martin, who you will remember from the greatest show ever made, Sledgehammer.
Oh, yeah.
Also, that is Michael Crichton's wife.
Oh, really? I didn't know that.
At the time. I believe that was his third. Or I think he got married again after her, but at the time, that's his wife. Or he marries her because he's like, wow, this actress is hot.
Yeah. Yeah. This could have been the beginning of the magic.
Maybe, I don't know.
No.
I didn't read that far back into it, but I know that they were married.
Right.
And I know that Sledgehammer is the greatest show ever made.
Right. It's a good one. And then, so his new partner gets an unexploded smart bullet stuck in her arm during a shootout in this, at the Ritz.
And the police academy, G.W. Bailey's chewing his ass, even though they're the ones that fucked everything up.
Yeah.
With their shitty stakeout.
And right before he talks to him, there's a cop comes by Selleck, and he says to him, Ramsey, Chief wants your ass. But he says it like that. He doesn't say like, Ramsey, Chief wants your ass, or like you're going to get your... It was like, Ramsey, the Chief wants your ass.
And then Ramsey's like, have we made a sexual harassment report to HR yet?
Yeah.
Or he says, I'm Tom Selleck. Everyone wants my ass.
Of course he does. Get in line. Take a number.
You'll be disappointed when you see how big that number is.
Yeah, and I wrote it here that I was like, G.W. Bailey is not a supportive captain. Because after this whole thing with he has to like basically get the bullet out of her arm and throw it, and he doesn't trust the model of robot they brought in to do it, so he does it himself. It's it's a weird sequence because you get to see it like in X-ray, him pulling it out, and I can't quite figure out where he is and where he's coming from or when it's going to be out.
Doesn't. And it's like that you see the bullets for the gun, the missile bullets.
Yeah.
They're bigger than the diameter of her arm. He should be able to just grab it and pull on it.
You'd think.
But it seems like a highly medical procedure because he, like Michael Crichton, used to be a medical doctor, but just, didn't like the way the industry was headed. So robots.
So robot cop. And then, when he's talking to G.W. Bailey, they're like, he's like, well, I'm going to get him. And he's like, how are you going to do that? And he says, we got his girlfriend. Because they have Kirstie Alley, right? And he says, you think he cares about a piece of ass? And he's like completely dismissing him going after the guy. And what does he tell him to do? Go visit with the psychic.
Yep.
That's his order.
Uh-huh. And then the psychic does some weird bullshit where like, you are the yin, he is the yang. You are connected, but she makes accurate predictions, and so you're in this other Michael Crichton thing where he doesn't really dismiss anything ever.
Right.
And, like, he'll latch on to weird things.
But why is G.W. Bailey so embracing of the psychic bullshit, and yet the robot unit, he's like, assholes.
they're the only ones that do any work, so he has to like keep appearances up that he's one tough son of a bitch chief.
Yeah. Oh, also around this time, Selleck's walking through the station, and there's a prostitute, or it seems like a prostitute being kind of dragged back, and she says, "Can you help me out?" to him, and he says, "Can't help you, honey," and she calls him a wiener head.
I wrote that down. That's Anne Marie Martin, Michael Crichton's wife.
Oh, that's her.
Wienerhead.
He calls him a wiener head.
Did you back it up and make sure that's what she said? Because I had to.
I asked Jinx to verify.
Yeah,
said, was
because
that,
it couldn't be anything else.
No.
Yeah, in the scene before, he's like, "Get the fuck out of here," and there was tits for no apparent reason.
Yeah,
like,
and this is a PG-13, right?
No, that was full frontal nudity. That had to be R. There is
Full
no way
frontal?
that many. Her boobs were in plain sight for at
boobs.
least 4 seconds.
Just boobs.
You
Not
can't have
full frontal. You can have boobs in
not full frontal.
PG-13.
Huh.
Back to school. Oh no, I can think of more.
Really?
Yeah,
There's no way it can be PG-13.
you can do boobs very briefly.
You
can do brief nudity and one fuck. Sometimes. But
So
you know it was weird all the time. Remember Whitewater Summer? I think there's 2 fucks right in rapid succession in that movie, and it's a PG. And that was well into PG-13 years, you know? So I don't know. It was not consistent.
No, the MPAA is just making it up as they go along.
Yeah.
And you can apparently buy them off, so maybe they bought them off.
Right.
Because, the amount of boobs in this is definitely rated R. And if this is rated PG-13, it's going to break one of my questions for later. So we'll have to actually look that up by the end of the movie, or the end of this podcast. But yes, she calls him a wiener head, and that is a strange thing.
Yeah. Yeah, that was a new one for me.
And I was even like, I'm going to back this up, but there's nothing else that she could have said right there.
No.
There's no sound alike.
I had the
to wiener
subtitles
head
on too, so I think I saw I saw it say wiener head as well. I was like, wiener head.
God damn it, MPAA.
What a great choice.
What a great choice to make your wife say.
Now
They'll remember you for something, honey.
the wienerhead girl. So then at some point they have to. I don't know what happens here. My notes go straight from that to the lady switch. You know where he's got her and he's got Kirstie.
I know what happens. I know what happens here. So this is the part where Luther calls him on the phone and has tapped into the cameras, and they realize they got to spring Kirstie Alley out of there. So they take her downstairs and make her take her clothes off.
Oh, right. Because she's got all those bugs and all of her clothes.
So she's wanting to be caught. She knows they're all there. She knows because the next note I have after she doesn't get them all the way out, but doesn't leave much to the imagination either.
Yeah.
Is let me see what this note says exactly here. Most unexciting car chase.
Oh, that's why I didn't write anything down.
So they have, and this is like one of the mispredictions, and I don't know if he is just doing this because he wanted these things to all look clunky, but when you make something automatic, you don't like put large machines in place of where the human goes. You just put small servos on it, right? Like put a servo on the steering wheel. Now it drives itself. So they've got like a fake driver and a robot that drives the car that they're in.
Right.
And then his partner is Karen. she's following them in a different car. And I think he's basically just making sure that she's really evil because he knows that there's more bugs. So apparently, I don't know where Gene Simmons gets these henchmen. He's got henchmen that have little power supplies that are actually on like wheeled exploding seeking devices.
Yeah, those things are crazy. They put them out the bottom of speeding cars, just put them onto the pavement, and they take off and go way faster than the cars.
And don't get run over.
No, they're pretty amazing.
And is there any way to fake this? Or are those just really, really fast little robots that got built for this movie?
I'm really not sure. But it's pretty cool.
It's pretty cool.
Yeah.
So they could only be going 30, those are going 35. They drop frames and it looks like they're going faster.
Sure.
But it looks really good.
It does look
good.
good.
It somehow lacks any suspense, probably because a robot's driving the car very steadily and Tom Selleck isn't worried at all.
Right. Not a feeling of a lot of stakes.
Mm-hmm. Somehow the robots he throws the purse out. She's like, fine, I do have something he wants. And also I am trying to get him to kill me. I don't know why. Throw this purse out the window. It blows that up, but it's already locked onto the car. They know these robots know which car it is now. So they keep coming. And this is why Karen's behind him, because then they pull side to side with the robot driven car and he opens the door. And this is some stunts here. Some good manning happen. A guy leaves one car and goes into the other car, and then he drags Kirstie into that, and then the robots blow the shit out of the other car.
Yeah, that's right.
And then they all go to a restaurant.
Yeah.
That Gene Simmons is already at.
Yeah, it's got cool, I don't know what you call that effects work, but those the car things, the little remote control things, it's got that shit in it, and it's got the the stunt work at the end. It's like it's got cool stuff going on, and yet, no real suspense, no real drive to it.
Yeah, for a set piece, this has zero impact as the result of its parts. It is not the sum of its parts.
Right. Yeah.
So they go to the restaurant, and Gene Simmons, as I said, is already there.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Maybe he's psychic, too, because psychic is apparently in the movie world a thing that works.
Yeah. It's a commonly accepted thing.
But he's only psychic for silly shit, not that maybe you should sell these chips to the highest bidder and not just evil people because you're evil by nature. I guess.
Right. And when programming your killer spiders, we'll get to it.
Okay, wait. We haven't even got to the first killer spider yet. Your spoiler alert.
I think that happened a while back, actually. We skipped over it. But
oh, yeah, we did. We skipped over the Sally. Poor Sally, the crime scene investigator, gets exploded by the spider bot. And so we'll talk about the spider bot. It's an erector set spider kind of thing that is menacing, I guess. But its method of killing you is as full-fledged and redundant and covering all the bases as can be possible. It attaches itself to you. It sticks a needle into you, injects acid directly into your bloodstream, which will kill you. It then shoots fire at you, and then it explodes.
It's pretty cool.
It's making sure you're dead 3 times.
Yeah. I like a thorough killer robot spider.
Yeah, I do too. I also like one that you couldn't just kick right the fuck out of the way.
Right. That's my this movie's like a tiny terror movie. Where you watch like any of those where you're just like fucking kick the things,
Just kick it.
It's kind of the same.
Go
thing.
have lunch with Joe Dante before you do this.
Yeah. For real. Get some pointers.
If you want to have tiny enemies, you need to talk to that guy.
Yeah.
He's the king of tiny enemies.
Okay,
so Sally, poor Sally, who's also in Looker, I think. I think, must be friends with him. She's in a lot of his movies. I think she might have been in Westworld, too. I'm not sure. After she dies indignantly by being injected with acid, burned, and exploded, they go to the restaurant, the car chase happens, and then Gene Simmons is just still there. And he already captures Karen while Tom Selleck's getting sushi for the three of them out of a sushi kiosk.
Yeah.
Which is the thing he accurately predicted. I walked by one the other day.
Right.
I'm like, I don't know about that.
I'm not sure if the presentation of the kiosk is something that's gonna fly today. But
no, there's a neon Benihana on there.
It's got some, there's a voice that talks to you and a accent.
The machine is authentically racist.
Yeah. Got a racist bot to run the sushi kiosk.
Have you had the sushi though?
It's amazing. Best sushi in town. Oh man. So yeah, they have to go make the lady switch. And when Kirstie Alley goes to Gene Simmons and Karen goes to Tom Selleck, but Gene Simmons sees because she's delivering the templates, as he calls them, the templates, and there's one template missing. Is that right?
She's like half of them. She like tears off like half of them.
Like half of them,
I think.
Well, he knows, so he's like kissing her or whatever, and then he just fucking stabs her in the back of the head.
He stabs her through the back of the neck. I guess he severs her spinal cord with a tiny knife because he's that efficient to kill her. But that unthorough a villain that he would check to make sure all the shit's there before he just kills somebody. He's so goddamn bloodthirsty.
Yeah. He's an idiot.
He's an idiot.
As established.
He's the dumbest super genius ever.
So his smartest thing is when he disguises himself as a cop. No one knows. They're just like, oh, yep, that's one of us.
Yeah. Hey.
He's just suddenly in the police station dressed as a cop.
Well, we have established that everyone that's not in the robotics division, which is 3 people, is just there pretending to work.
Right. So anybody can do it.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
Does that guy work here? I don't know. Do you work here? Do I work here?
What's work?
Steer clear of the robot division. They're onto us.
Luther looks up Ramsey's file and finds out about his kid and goes and abducts.
Where are you at on how he does this? Because he has a replica of Tom Selleck's eye. How the fuck does he pull this one off?
How does he do that? And I was like, does he not have... Does it have to be Tom Selleck's eye, or does it have to be someone's eye, and then he gets access to the files? Or does it have to be Tom Selleck's?
It's unclear, because the way the movie's cut, he has what looks like a glass eye. Because if it was a real eye, it should be chunky. You're again getting me into the idea that this is PG-13, and I'm like, those tits were on screen a while, and he screams, fuck, huh? So it's like a glass eye. He puts it on the thing, and all of a sudden, Tom Selleck's file just comes right up.
Oh. Maybe he has some retinal scan of him, was able to produce a fake eye.
Yeah. But if you were Tom Selleck or Ramsey and you got your eye scanned, would all of the information about yourself that you already know be the first thing that comes up?
I mean, I don't know. Maybe in that particular system that he goes to, this is the check your info system. Just bring your eyeball right up here and all your info pops up. It's just one computer just does that, and that's where he is.
Yeah.
I don't know. Maybe this isn't real. I don't know. Just occurred to me.
Usually the works of Michael Crichton are not as riddled with holes as this one is. It's just a strange movie for that very reason.
I'm starting to think they're just making this shit up.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's weird because he's also just, it feels like there's like something cut out because he's just suddenly there. He's suddenly disguised and he's got this eyeball. And it does, like the cutting. Like we even said that when we were watching it last night. We're like, does he have Tom Selleck's eyeball? I'm like, it can't be. Tom Selleck is not missing an eyeball.
It would be great if in the next scene he just shows up in an eye patch and then nobody says anything and you're like,
Yeah.
he just pulled his eye out,
What
I guess,
happened?
off screen at some point.
I've been through worse. Did I ever tell you about that time I didn't get that killer and he killed that family of 6?
Yeah.
Oh, and
Didn't your wife die in a...
Oh, yeah. You want to get some Chinese food?
Yeah, I don't want to talk about her.
I don't remember that. What?
What?
Like,
You
that's
meant
how
Lois?
little he gives a shit. I'm starting to think he killed his wife.
Yeah.
A car accident. Sure.
Yeah.
He's a robotics expert. He reprogrammed the car to slam into a brick wall or something.
Yeah, and he reprogrammed Lois to be a pleasure model by sticking a couple of pieces of bologna in between the tape
my
deck
God.
section and the digital readout.
No. Oh,
Don't have to be an engineer for this one.
damn it, Lois. Oh, man. Speaking of Lois, we find out that he's, how do we find out that there's trouble at his house? Or he finds out that he sees his file was pulled up by someone?
Yeah.
And he's like, holy
He's like,
shit.
oh my God.
So he runs to the
And
house.
He goes, that's why my eye is missing.
It all makes sense now.
That son of a bitch is fast. He already put it back.
This guy's a genius. Criminal genius.
Business plan's idiotic.
God. But they get to his house real fast, and the kid's gone, and Lois is just bleeding on the floor. She says she's losing a lot of hydraulic fluid.
And he's like, oh, well, she'll be fine as long as her memory banks get power or whatever. And like, no hard drive on this one. It's all RAM. That sucks.
Yeah. And he gets a call telling him to meet him at the construction site, which is so we know there's going to be some sweet. Did we talk about how Tom Selleck's afraid of heights? Oh yeah, a little bit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
A little bit.
Yeah, they keep hitting on it.
They keep hitting on Gene Simmons being the criminal mastermind yet idiot that he is, must have stumbled upon this when he borrowed his eye for a minute.
Mm-hmm. So he devises the most foolproof plan.
Yes.
Because when he arrives at
just
the
take it.
construction site, he finds a bunch of the spiders at the bottom by the elevator and not attacking him. He gets on the elevator, which is like one of those open air ones with no doors, which is just great. And I will give it this. This movie does a good job of making you feel the heights, I think. Like, it is a long ride. Tom Selleck's selling it good. I was getting a little nervous for him. Even the bad green screen heights thought looked pretty good.
Going back to this construction site in the movie makes me feel like, and also all the holes and all the weird incongruencies that aren't really in his work, makes it seem like they got to Vancouver and they started changing a lot of plans, but once they saw what was around, and he saw that site and he's like, I got to use this. And so they kind of, I think they reworked a lot of this after they got to Vancouver.
That would make sense. Because it just kind of has a feel of like, oh, here's a place for the final showdown. It doesn't really have, doesn't feel like it has to be there at all. But anyway, we find out that Gene Simmons has programmed his spiders to kill the first person that comes off that elevator. We find this out because he gets up there and he has the boy and he says, give me the boy. And he tells him to get on the elevator and go down. And he's like, once he's safe, I'll give you your shit. And he's like, well,
about that.
About that. The first person off that elevator is going to get killed by my spiders. So Tom Selleck's got to stop the thing. But it's the first person
that gets off.
That gets off the
so
elevator.
it gets down there.
No matter what.
And because they have to get off, he gets down to the bottom and he doesn't get off the elevator. Therefore, they can't kill him.
Yeah.
And then Karen, who has disobeyed orders and requests, gets onto the elevator. Therefore, they can't kill her because she hasn't gotten off of the elevator. So
and they like climb up somewhere
to the second floor.
Yeah, they climb up.
Like just right up there.
Yeah.
And the spiders can do nothing because they didn't get off the elevator.
Yeah, they're just waiting still for their tasty prey. And there's only 2 people left.
They get impatient after a while because there's some tomfoolery with the missile gun and minor fighting, and there's not really a fight. It's like Tom Selleck's just like working at a steel mill, kind of like cranking some wheels and doing some things to robots and dodging missiles. And he eventually decides to get on the other elevator, and it goes up.
Oh man,
and there's
it
some
shoots
more
up, like way to the top. It's kind of frightening.
It's higher than the building's been built yet.
Yeah.
And then some of the spiders come up there, and they can't kill him because he hasn't gotten off of the elevator. So they spray him with acid to try to get him to get off the elevator so they can kill him. But he doesn't ever get off the elevator, so they can't kill him. They get him hanging from the elevator, but he's just hanging there, not off. So they can't kill him, and eventually he blows those ones up because of their superior programming.
Mm-hmm. and so we got this very capable, the most capable police officer in the city, at least, on this elevator, and knowing that he can't get off the elevator. And then we've got a dipshit who didn't program his spiders to not kill him. If he were to be the first off the elevator.
Or just kill the people he wants dead.
Yeah, he has that technology.
So, and this is one of those things where you're watching it the first time, you're like, is this a plot hole? Like, no. This is Tom Selleck's heroics. He knows that they're programmed so specifically that he's using that program in the spiders against the villain.
Yeah.
And he gets Simmons on to the fucking elevator, holds him onto the elevator until he's low enough, which also, I mean, you could just push him off and he dies, but, you know, that's not as much fun. He's like, you programmed them for this, you fucking idiot. And then gets him low enough, shoves him off the elevator, and Gene Simmons is like, oh shit,
and
that was a dumb plan.
Swarmed by, I don't know, 5 or 6 robot spiders sticking him. Ugh. Fantastic.
And then after, they don't light him on fire or blow him up.
Yeah.
And you're like, why? Because he was so evil that he programmed it to be a long death.
Yeah.
So Selleck walks over there to see if he's alive, and he's like, I am kind of alive still.
Oh, yeah, it's a last Gene Simmons scare.
Yeah.
He like pops up and goes, ah!
Yeah. And at that point, the robots light him on fire and blow him up.
Yeah. Classic. That's a good one. And then it pretty much wraps up right there. Him and the partner, they start snuggling, and he makes like a comment that he said before, like, because he talked about, like, it was as if he was asking her out for dinner or something, but then he's like, Oh, I take all my partners out for dinner. Just because you're a woman shouldn't be any different. So here he repeats the just because you're a woman, you shouldn't be any difference. Whatever, blah, blah, blah. But they're getting all romantic with each other. And then he says, can you cook?
Yeah. And then she's like, you are really bad with women, and just starts making out with him.
Yeah.
And then there's this shot with Goldsmith in the Yamaha piano and Sparks
Hasty licks
on each other's faces.
Yeah.
Bobby wait in the car. He's got to wait in the car for like an hour.
Yeah.
They're humping
making
in
out.
the spark field, and it's just like they're shooting this and they're like, man, this is hot stuff. This is going to be the most majestic thing ever. And maybe it would have been had everything that happened before it not happened.
Right. Yeah. That's the deal breaker. It's the preceding hour 35 minutes. I am looking at it. It is PG-13. PG-13. Of course, there's no.
Well, I guess what.
Rating reason given, since they didn't do that back then. But
Those boobs were on screen way too long for PG-13. Don't care.
Yep. Even
If this is PG-13, I missed out on something that should have been in my spank bank, because that's as much boobs as I've ever seen in a PG-13 movie.
Oh man. Well, it's a good one.
So yeah, I'm watching it and I'm like, should this? I'm going to go into questions now because that's the movie. Was he trying to make this for kids? Because it should have been a horror movie for children, because the plot holes wouldn't make difference to somebody who's 10. So without those tits and the word fuck, this thing probably makes some more money.
True, but it also lends more, gives it an air of something you're not supposed to see to the 10-year-old boy. It would be even more appealing to see a PG-13 than a PG,
Yeah, and I think it's too scary. Like, this just doesn't have an audience.
Yeah. Yeah, I think you're right. I mean, I watched it as a kid a couple times, but it's not one that, sunk its teeth into me or anything. I was just kind of like, eh.
Well, you know why? Because this came out at the same time as fucking Terminator.
Yeah. And a lot of things. I mean.
Yeah.
Fucking Temple of Doom that year. There was a lot of stuff going on for a, 6-year-old, 7-year-old kid.
For someone who is enjoying adventure rather than mostly skepticism.
Right. This one's just a little too blue bloody for me. As a child. Now it's perfect.
Do you have any questions?
No, not really. I couldn't think of anything. I was just it seemed to answer all my questions. Where are we going? Where are we now?
Or we asked and answered them along the way, because there was tons of questions like, is that Tom Selleck's eye? Why did Gene Simmons get in the elevator?
Exactly.
Knowing that if he got out of it, he would be killed by his own stupid plans.
I don't think he thinks that far ahead.
I think I missed this note. When they were talking about the missile, he called it a smart bullet.
Yes.
And now everything that does its own thinking is a smart thing, so there's another accurate prediction.
Yeah, I wrote that down too. It's like, smart bullet, crazy. Yeah. Nailed it.
Yeah.
Nailed it.
Lasers. Where you guys at on these laser gun scientists? Come on now, you gotta make Michael Crichton right, and also laser guns!
It's the most accurate future predictor movie.
Well, next week we're gonna watch Looker, so we maybe it isn't.
Ooh. I'm
Also
really
directed
looking forward
by Michael
to this.
Crichton.
Yeah.
Starring Albert Finney.
Albert Finney. I'm excited.
The man's hero. How do you go from Selleck to Albert Finney when you're doing heroes? How do you pull that off?
Don't you go from isn't Looker pre-Runaway?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think it is, but
how do you go from Finney to Selleck?
Well, I mean, that one's an obvious upgrade. I don't want to talk shit about Albert Finney because I really like him a lot. I just think he's a weird cast for the movie that we're going to watch next week.
Oh, interesting. Okay, cool. Something to keep in mind.
All right, let's go to final recommendations. It's your pick, so I'll go first. Mm-hmm. You mentioned you didn't take very good notes. I mentioned I didn't take very good notes. Usually that means we're having too much fun watching the movie. I don't know, because this thing's a hot mess. It's got plot holes all over it. It's unexciting, but it's just so much fun to watch. I can't pinpoint. I mean, it's just dumb as fuck. And so you're like, what? Gene Simmons is so stupid. There's fucking erector set spiders that kill you 3 times.
Yeah.
Tom Selleck's calm throughout the whole thing. This is just it's a blast. I love it. I'm saying do. Where are you at?
I'm right there with you. I second everything you just said. I agree with the criticisms, and it is so much fun. I loved it. I think everybody should watch it. It should be required in school, honestly.
Yeah.
Like
and
5th grade.
What? If you show this to 5th graders, you're going to bring them up. I'm telling you, that's a lot of boobs on screen.
And a sign-up sheet for robotics club.
And the one kid with the poofy hair's like, is there an evil robotics club?
There is now.
There is now.
Yeah, do it. See it. It's on Amazon Prime right now if you got Amazon Prime.
Then the science teacher's like, well, technology isn't inherently evil, so I guess sure.
Yeah, why not? What could go wrong? Kid just watches Runaway and Evil Robotics Club. We just watch this over and over again.
All right, well, that's our show. For Tucker, I am Sam. Next week, Tucker will be coming back, and we'll be doing the other Michael Crichton film that I find kind of puzzling, Looker. Tucker, give us a get to the chopper.
Get to the chopper!